I really like Rumi, the Sufi poet. I mean, the man is just, I like him. I like a lot of them. I like a lot of these masters. I like Jesus and Buddha and Lao Tzu, Chinese mystic. I mean, there's so many. They're just all good. God expresses his awakening through these different forms and in their own way, with their own, they keep their individual human characteristics and personality, and then they express this awakening. And it's different. People like Osho, you got wild people. You have some wild people, and then you have more aesthetic people like Yogananda, Swami Shivananda. It's just all good. You find who you resonate with based on your archetype, and then those are your people. Those are your beings that your higher self is hiding in those forms, and those are the people you listen to help awaken yourself. It works like that. But Rumi said, "He who brought me here is taking care of me," or he who brought me here will take me home. Okay, so what does that mean? I also like his other thing. He said, knocking from inside. You think you're outside, but you're knocking from inside, because this is Maya, this is delusion. We're trying to wake up. Like, where's the awakening? We're knocking, but we're already in the place that's the idea of ourself is trying to wake up, but it's inside the space or room of ourself that's already awake. This is what he's saying. So, but the individual construct self is a bell. It believes what it is, and it's trying to find the true self. It doesn't know it's already housed in the true self, so it's knocking on the door, like let me in, man. Like, I'm trying to like wake up, and then grace opens the door, and it's like, oh, I'm inside. My bad. Good one. You see, that's awakening. So he who brought me here is taking care of me, or that which brought me here is taking care of me. Some people are sensitive about gender. Why is God a he? God's so beyond he, she. If I listen to what the words are pointing to, so I don't get caught up on gender or somebody, Jehovah or Jesus, or it's all forms and names. I'm focused on the essence, so do that. He who brought me here is taking care of me. Do we really think that the universe would create itself in a form and then just abandon it? Like, all right, I shouldn't have created this form. It's like a lot of work, and you're like too messed up. I can't really work with that. I'm just gonna abort the operation. Good luck. You think that's what's happening? Now, it can feel like that sometimes, but that's part of the game. We gotta feel this. You can't feel deep contentment and peace without feeling the opposite. Or at least you couldn't appreciate deep contentment and peace if you didn't feel the opposite. I've said before, if there was just peace, love, light, and joy from the time you were born until you die, you wouldn't even know it. You'd probably get bored with it and then go get into trouble or something. You want to experience the contrast, So this whole game's very multifaceted. So God's not going to abandon us. God's playing through us as the supreme being. It's the universe stepped itself down. The universal, the pure consciousness, stepped itself down and dreamed itself in this individual construct, consciousness, limited consciousness. It dreamed that, and then it's taking care of it though the whole way, because it is that. It's taking care of it, and then it's bringing it back so that it can fuse back into itself. It's like the prodigal son, though. The localized consciousness is the prodigal son. It has to go out, seemingly. Remember dreaming, though. It's going out for a while, like sense pleasures. That's our God. That's what we want. We want to pleasure and stimulate our senses and get dopamine hits and euphoria via relationships and making money and sex and all that. We're like, oh yeah, this is where it's at. This tastes real good for a while. See, it's supposed to do that, though. It's a divine intentional mistake. And then at some point, the consciousness realizes, it's like, wait a minute, this is too much duality here. Yeah, it feels real good. I'm in the honeymoon stage and the relationship, and oh, this is so nice. And then fast forward, I don't know, 90 days, 6 months. It's like the heaven becomes hell. So when that happens enough, same with money, same with getting new cars. Ooh, I got the new car. Man, I bought a Mustang Mach 1 when I was like 17. I didn't even have a driver's license. It was suspended because I like to drive fast to try to impress the girls. And so then but I needed this car because it had flames on the hood. I'm like, I gotta have this car. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna get it? I don't have a license. My boy. I'll get my boy to buy it for me. I'll give him the money and then he'll get it. And then he'll put it in his name. Good idea. So I did that. And guess what happened? The idiot got drunk one night, called the police and said I stole his car. And then the police pulled me over, had guns. They're like, why'd you steal the car? I'm like, it's my car though, what do you mean? And then I had to explain to them. Still took me to jail, still got another charge on suspended driver's license, but all for what? Because I wanted that car. The story don't end there, actually. You know what happened? I ended up, oh man, should I tell the story? I mean, why not, right? Another guy hit me to the fact that this guy that stole my car robbed a church. So I'm like, okay. I call the police department. I find out the name of the detective that was working on the case. I rat this dude out. They arrested him, bring him to jail, right? So then they impound my car. I get another lawyer, pay him like $500, explain the situation. He's like, okay, I think I can help you. So he starts working on the case, but then they release the guy before I can get the car. The guy's smoking crack, so he ends up selling my car to a drug dealer to get money. So then, guess what I did? I went and got another friend and repeated the same thing. I give him the money to go get the car. So he goes and buys the car, right? It's his car again. And he played with me about that. I was like, man, I just went through this, bro. Like, please, can I just get my car? And then he gave it to me. Okay, so that's the story. Bottom line. So I know about like insanity. You see, this is why I'm making videos, because I'm trying to show you, no matter how lost you might be or once were, it doesn't matter. There's no limitation. It doesn't mean you can't wake up to your true nature. It means that you lived a very full life and it's fun and you can help people now. See, because you got the rich experience. You know how to help people. You've been there. Not just some airy fairy fruity, like, never had any trouble and I woke up. Who wants to talk to them? You want to talk to somebody that's like been there, don't you? So I needed that car though. And I felt really good when I got it. But guess what? It didn't last long. I lost, the feeling went away again. So the whole point, I don't forget my points of why I'm sharing all this, is it's like the consciousness wants to dream for a while and believe that it can find peace and wholeness via external things. This is the game. It's set up like that. You have to do that. And then at some point, but God's with us the whole time anyway. He's still with us. He's still taking care because he did it. What do we think? That we did it? That we went against God's will? And that, God really wishes we didn't do it, but we did it anyway? Can't do that. He wrote this script. This is what we're supposed to do. So we do that. And then we start to realize, whoa, I need to find a spiritual practice because this isn't working. This life, I can't find happiness. I can enjoy this life if I know who I am first. Then you can enjoy everything. It doesn't matter. It's an extension. You project this joy that you already have, not trying to project it, but it's automatically infused in everything else. You see, it's because you're already there. You're in the source. So then, with your perception, when you look at stuff, you're transmitting this joy into what you're looking at or what you're doing. So then it becomes joyful. But it's not that thing you're giving it the joy, and then you're enjoying the joy. It's like this circulation of joy. So this is the evolution, the spiritual evolution that the consciousness has embarked on. And God's taking care of the whole time. He's like taking care of it. Like we can't miss. There was something I read, the Theosophical Society, Helen. I liked her. She was good. She was a smoking addict because she said there's too much information. I understand. Like we don't know. Sometimes we got to use things that are seemingly not good just to buffer the whole stress of being a human and having these channels open. It's no judgment. She was talking. She would visit like the astral plane, the mental plane, causal plane, and she would dictate like what she saw. And I remember she was saying the eighth sphere is what it's called, and that's when the person's so screwed up that the soul or the consciousness, she called it soul, it actually discontinues the operation, and or the game. And so then it said the eighth sphere, it's like the most subtle plane is very subtle. You can't see it because it's so subtle. The eighth sphere is so gross, so heavy you can't see it. Can you imagine that? It's so heavy you can't even see it. So then these constructs that got aborted, they end up going there, and then how did she say something like this? The slow wheels of dismantling just break it apart, and all the elements go back into their where they came from. Okay, there's so many ways we can interpret that, though. It's not like the consciousness is in there and it's suffering. Oh no, I'm being dismantled. I had a dream once. It was a great dream. I was on some planet somewhere, and I'm like, there's somebody else. I'm like, oh, it's coming. They're like, what? I'm like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, this some kind of beam or light came, and I could feel I was disintegrating from the inside out. That's the best way I could explain it. That was trippy. So sometimes we get some good dreams. It's a good message there, though. So anyway, I don't want to scare anybody about the eighth sphere thing, but I just somehow felt to share that. But the consciousness isn't present. If it really aborted, it's not there anymore. And so then natural laws of evolution, because this is where we live, they gotta go through the process, and then all the elements get deconstructed and sent back to their origin. Anyway, remember that though, when life starts getting or feeling hard, just remember you're not alone. You can't be. God's with you all the time. Otherwise, you couldn't exist. You wouldn't have the sense of having a hellish experience if the presence of God wasn't in you. That would allow you to have that experience. So He's with you, and we got to taste this for a little while. This duality of this growth, this transformation and transcendence. Like it's a messy kind of thing, a little bit. Like it has to be like that. You somehow give space for that. Know that. That doesn't mean the pain's going to go away, but somehow you have a higher perspective or vantage point. You're like, okay, something can allow it to be there. It's temporary. And you let it be there. And you transcend it. And then the next time it comes, the duration of it won't be as long. This is transcendence. This is transformation. Nobody can buck that evolutionary process. Okay? You don't just say, oh, but nothing exists or anything. And, oh, the pain's not there anymore. It don't exist. Don't work like that. All right? Let me know how you like this video.